Oh, my little Uranus in the 7th house buttercups. How I wish you would write a book about your relationships. Because your relationships are going to be far from normal or what society deems as traditional. And I'm sure there would be parts of your book that would shock people if they read it. And some parts may even be a little controversial to others. Am I right? Let me know. Would people be surprised to learn about something that's happened in your relationships? So there's a few things that someone who has Uranus in their 7th house will require in relationships. And this just goes to show you how much Uranus does influence your natal chart. So someone with Uranus in their 7th house will definitely need change, spontaneity in some relationships, and space, okay? They cannot do the boring, mundane life with a partner. And if any person they date tries to take away their freedom or makes them feel smothered, well, you can bet your bottom dollar these natives will rebel, okay? They will leave. They're going to need some space. They don't want to try to control you, so don't even think about trying to control them. You know, Uranus is all about authenticity. So these natives want someone who loves them exactly how they are, all their perks and all their flaws. And they expect to love you authentically. Now, partnerships doesn't change this person either. They are who they are. You know, Barack Obama has his Uranus in his 7th house, and Michelle was asked, you know, how they manage their marriage because they've been together for a long time. And she said something to the effect that you remain true to your authentic self in your relationship, and your partner just accepts all of you. Do you see how that viewpoint is highly compatible with Barack's Uranus placement in his natal chart? So it makes sense to me why they've been able to make it work for so long. These natives will want you to be independent and to do your own thing. They kind of have this I love you, but I also need you to go away mentality. They aren't the Venus and Scorpios or the Venus and Pisces that literally want to merge souls together and just become one. You know, I dated someone with Uranus in his 7th house, and one thing that relationship taught me was how to be equal partners and not to depend on one another. So relationships with someone who has this placement kind of reminds me of two horses with the chariot, you know? They're each pulling their own weight for the success of the relationship. We had to match energy to get us where we were going. One of us couldn't slack or we couldn't go. Now with this placement, you need to find someone who will do the work with you, not for you, or where you have to do the work for them. It's impossible. You're in this chariot together in these reins, and you have to go together. Now, one of the most notable things you will notice is if you have this placement, you attract inconsistent partners. And it can almost feel kind of like the twin flame dynamic if you have this placement, where there's just this constant push or pull, or maybe hot and cold reactions. And you'll notice that your relationships will actually throw curveballs when you absolutely least expect it. You know, it's like attracts like in this universe. And with this placement, you have that I love you, but now go away. I've had enough of you energy. I need a kind of break. And you attract that. You don't want someone that is needy and needs to rely on you 24/7 to survive. So you do love a partner, but you may need breaks. This is why you do well in unconventional relationships. Maybe long distance relationships where you're not around each other every single day. It could be where one partner is locked up and you're out here in the free world. You could have a partner that travels a lot for work. You know, you could have the polyamorous relationship where your attention is divided among other people. It's not all on one person. You may even meet your partner online with this placement. It could even manifest something like you have separate bedrooms with your partners, or separate bank accounts, or separate homes from one another where you can take a break. You can actually find you attract a partner who has a lot of opposite traits as you, because This type of energy, the opposition, it's really what gets things popping, okay? If your partner was just like you, it would be boring AF, okay? But you introduce this opposition into your life and, well, buddy, you're gonna not have some boring occasions. It can be simple things like one person is a night owl, the other person is a morning person. Maybe one person loves solitude and the other person loves a crowd. Maybe one partner is private and the other person likes spotlight. And it could even manifest in physical, oppositions with this placement. It can shock people that you are with someone who is different than you, radically different in some cases. And it could be something like there's a significant height difference between the partners, or a weight difference, or an age difference. I mean, people on the outside can be confused on why you are with who you are. Like, you don't go together, you're opposites. But what they don't understand is you love this quirkiness and you love this unconventionalness of this relationship. You really do have a unique perspective as to what relationships are supposed to look like. And there can be a slight detachment to relationships where you don't lose yourself in one. You always maintain what you love to do and you don't want to change for anyone. So if a partner is making you feel like you need to change, well, you detach and you find something or someone that is more compatible to you. You definitely may have passions or hobbies that you do away from your spouse. This again creates that space that you need. But the key is that your partner wants you to have this freedom and to go do what you love to do without nagging or complaining. The partner you attract could be a trendsetter in some way, or even keep up with the current trends that are occurring in the culture. They could also love their own space. They could also, while I'm saying space, they could like space and stars and astrology and the occult, or have an interest in science and math or electricity. That part kind of cracks me up because, math was always my favorite subject in school. And I read The New Scientist every single time it comes out. I love space and the stars. I mean, I literally make videos about their energies. And the guy I dated wasn't into any of those things. But it makes sense why he was attracted to me, because I'm a big nerd who loves learning about all of those things. I was unashamed about being a dork. Let me tell you a little secret, okay? These natives love authentic partners. You guys may even have some nice debates around politics and religion with your partner. And you may even find that you're on the same page when it comes to humanity and the treatment of humanity, even though you're opposite in other different ways. A relationship is going to give you some different perspectives on things. And with this placement, a relationship can definitely be a catalyst for change in some way. Now, the one thing that does kind of suck about this placement is Uranus is all about some sudden movements. It loves sudden movements, which is great when you are a spontaneous person because you love these quick, abrupt changes that can occur. But sometimes with this placement, you discover sudden endings to relationships seemingly out of nowhere. You can have a partner that just out of the blue says that they no longer want to be with you. Or you can have a partner that cheats and runs off with another person and you would have never expected it. Or, Joe Biden has this placement and his first wife died suddenly in a car crash. You have to be ready for the unexpected with this placement, especially in the relationship sector. If you have Uranus in your 7th house, what abrupt changes have you experienced within your relationships? Or have you just never had relationships that just end out of nowhere? Which, by the way, if you're resonating with this video and you want a deeper reading where I look at all the energies in your chart, be sure to book a reading. I'll leave a link in the description below. I love making these videos, but they are very general because it's only going over one part of your chart. There's a lot of different caveats in it. And when I look at all of your energies together, I get a way, way, way better understanding of who you are as a person. Now, I will say this sudden energy that is brought into your relationships doesn't always have to be negative. It could be where you randomly go off and get eloped with your partner, or you're in Vegas and you think, what the heck, I'm already here, let's get married by Elvis. Just random, exciting, fun adventures with your partner. Or maybe you could get off work and you just plan a sudden weekend trip with barely any planning. Those things can happen within your relationships. Or you may randomly get news that your partner has to travel on very short notice. You'll notice this once you're aware of it, that there's just always these lightning bolts coming down and striking your relationship with some abrupt energy. The 7th house is also the house of long-term contracts. So you may find that you randomly sign long-term contracts with a partner. Maybe one random day you decide to add them to your phone plan, even though your relationship can be a little chaotic. Or maybe you randomly decide to buy a house with them. You may even find that your credit goes up and down with this placement. You really have to look at all of the placements because there are some things that can help that. But when we're impulsive and commit to long-term things, we may become detached if we don't maintain that same level of excitement. And then you're left still having to fulfill the contract that you signed. Again, I'd have to look at the whole chart. And if this is the case, you would be very attracted to someone with Uranus in their 2nd house because, believe me, they are very used to their finances fluctuating. If you would like to hear the final 2 things about someone that has this placement in their chart, be sure to head over to Pluto's Garden, which is my Patreon account where if you subscribe, you can unlock all my extended videos that are filled with the content you don't find anywhere else. You can invest in yourself and learn all about the parts of you that make you, you. There is one particular thing that I noticed that appears in a lot of relationships where there is a partner who has this placement, and it's very, very interesting that it comes up. So if you want to unlock the extended video, be sure to head over to my Patreon. Mwah.